So say that last thing again.
Oh, the chickens are cleaning up in here. They like a bit of afterbirth because they are. They do eat meat, chickens. Yeah, so they pick out the poo and any other little bits and bobs that get left behind by the sheep.
They eat the poo as well?
Yeah, well they scratch through it and yeah, at least that moves the poo to the bottom of underneath the straw rather than sitting on the top. We have these separate pens, so when one of them gives birth, we put her and her lambs in a separate pen because the broody ewes will steal the babies. So that's why we put them in separate pens, and they stay in there for a couple of days until we think they're.
There's also a bit of argy-bargy with the ewes.
Yeah.
And they'll. It's good if you spot one going into labour and you can, then it's good to get her separate, but not if you're going to annoy her in the process. So
Yeah, we've actually done that less this year because I wonder if last year we did that because we had to assist one of the ewes and she was like running round the barn with the lamb already coming out. So we decided to pen them up as soon as we saw they were in labour, but I wondered if that actually caused more problems than it solved, because if I was in labour, well, even being in labour and being asked to move was pretty disturbing and annoying, so I imagine it's the same for a sheep. So we haven't done that this year, and so far we haven't had any problems.
yeah, it's all been fine. Right here.
So, any advice on shepherding yet, then, Tony?
This is supposed to be easy. She's supposed to follow her lambs.
Yeah, her lambs are being too quiet. The lambs are supposed to bleat, and then she'll follow them. Just being quiet, not stressing her out. There you go, Mum. Reunited.
So, is there anything about the size of, what is this, a nursery field? Would you call it that?
They could be in any field. It's just convenient for us to keep an eye on them. Once they're more than a day old, they can go out. Probably wouldn't put them out if it was really bad weather, but as you can see, it's lovely. So yeah, it's better for them to be outside. Especially the ewes can get problems from hay and dust and dryness, and the grass is better for them than hay. So the less time they're in the barn, the better.
And then when they get larger, I guess you'll put them out into a larger field with the rest of the flock?
Yeah.
How long would you keep them isolated for then, to keep an eye on them? Or make
Probably
it more
just
manageable?
until we're done, until they're all in together.
Yeah.
So the first one we didn't want to put out until the second one was ready, so she wasn't out on her own. But yeah, we'll just do this until they're all out, and then I don't know, we'll look at the grass and see which field's in the best state and move them onto that. And probably move the boys from last year, which are up there, onto restricted grazing. because they'll just put on fat now. So we don't want them eating too much. But yeah, summer's finally arrived. We skipped spring entirely. So we had our first lambing last year, and a friend of ours who has a farm 5 minutes down the road and is a sheep farmer, they helped us through that first lambing. Now normally if you've got a small number of sheep as we have, you wouldn't expect any problems. It would normally, they'd get on with it themselves and be fine. But the ewes that we got seemed to have lots of problems. So we did 3 assisted? Yeah, 3 assisted deliveries, including one stillborn.
Well, of 9 ewes, we had 2 that delivered and looked after their lambs without any problems.
Yeah. So we had lots of problems, but we had our friend, the farmer, the shepherd, on call, and here quite a bit, and he helped us do it and showed us what to do. So we gained more experience than we expected to last year, and he's still on call, but we haven't had to call him. Everything's gone completely fine this time round. So so we've got expertise to hand if we need it.
Are there any courses that people can do?
Yeah, there are.
There must be.
There are. I mean, 5 years ago now, the little Bo Peep thing was set up in Totnes. So that's this same shepherd. He kept a handful of sheep on Castle Meadow in the middle of Totnes, and a group of us took turns checking the sheep each day, and if there were any, he told us what to look out for. If there were any problems, we'd call him and he would come and show us how to deal with them. At certain times of the year where there's bigger jobs like shearing and so on, then he would come and do that, and we would all get to come along and watch and help out and try our hand at it. So I've been doing that for 5 years, but that didn't include lambing. So that was new to us last year, and is still pretty new to us really. So we're lambing really late this year. We lambed quite early last year, although given how wet it's been, I'm glad that we're doing that. So now the lambs are going straight out onto fresh spring grass, whereas last year we lambed in February and it was cold and miserable and the grass was not growing. So I think we had to supplement their feed a little bit more.
Come on with this one, Molly. Come on with this one, because it's the other one that's not eating. We discovered that this ewe only had one working udder, so it's likely that she'll feed them both when they're little, but eventually she might just decide to kick one off because she won't tolerate them feeding so long.